Hello, and welcome to this segment of DiabloSpot. Today I'm going to be covering the monk. So, what do we know about a general monk? At least in my mind, the Oriental monks. So they're up in, they go up into the mountains and shed all their worldly desires. Also, what we know about a normal monk is that they use their fists. They usually don't use weapons, and they tend to be wearing cloth for their armor choice. How does the Diablo 3 monk fit into all this? They can't take too many hits because obviously they're not wearing any armor. So the Diablo 3 monk takes this into account, and he or she will be using debuff spells on their enemies. So they'll weaken their enemies as they are fighting them. You know, like monks usually tend to hit like pressure points across the body. So they weaken their enemies in that fashion. The monk is basically the opposite of the barbarian. Barbarian is a tank, and so what's the opposite of a tank? Well, something that deals a shit ton of damage, which is the monk. So this monk is going to be using items, which means that they'll be wearing, more than likely be wearing some sort of armor. In fact, as in Diablo 2, your characters could technically wear any armor. They just need the strength to wear it. So I'm assuming that Diablo 3 might be in that same vein, but since your stats are controlled, Diablo 3 designers will know what armors each character could actually wear in the end. So obviously armor is not the only thing that the monk will be using. The monk will also be using some sort of weapon, such as staffs, fist weapons, or his fists themselves. And these weapons will also affect what skills the monk can be using at any point in time. So if the monk's using a staff, they might be doing using sweep attack skills. And if they're using fist weapons or their fists themselves, they'll be using some sort of fast fist movement, such as the exploding palm skill. That would definitely be a fist attack skill. Weapons that affect skills are not a new thing to the Diablo universe. This was also in Diablo 2, where the barbarian had to dual-wield weapons in order to use their frenzy attack. He won't be using swords, obviously, because he's a monk, so he'll also either be, as I said, using fist weapons or staffs. I don't know of anything else, maybe some sort of ranged weapon. We know what weapons he or she is using, and we know what Diablo 3 monk entails, but what are the skills that they have? Well, so far we know of the crippling wave, the impenetrable defense, exploding palm, seven-sided strike, and way of the 100 fists. Each of these attacks seems very monk-ish, you could say, except for maybe the impenetrable defense. I mean, in that one, he's just deflecting anything that tries to contact with him. I'll be curious to see what happens with melee attacks and that ability. How does the monk play? It's kind of like an arcade fighter, so you have to set up combos in order to do things. So these combos tend to be in 3 tiers, so you do one thing, and then you do the next, and then you do the final blow. Such as exploding palm technique is 2 hits and then the exploding palm. So whatever was hit with that exploding palm will cause that beast to explode after a certain amount of time. What do his skill trees look like? Well, we haven't seen them, but more than likely we can guess that one of them will be based off of combat skills, one of them will be based off of debuffing skills, and another will be based off of defense skills. I mean, that's the simple tree that they could create. So the last question we need to ask is, what's the monk's background? How do they come upon being in Diablo 3? This monk comes from a group of monks that likes to hone themselves, likes to make themselves powerful. And I'm guessing in doing this, they have shed themselves of all worldly desires, because all they care about is honing themselves to become a more efficient fighter. So how does this play into the Diablo 3 storyline? Like, is the monk only looking out for themselves? What happens when a quest comes up? Is the monk just going to do it to make themselves more powerful? This should be interesting to see how they interact with characters in the game. Since they are detached from the world, they don't really need to care about the world's problems. But it seems that this monk in particular is putting themselves into the world's problems, taking on Diablo, trying to kill off hordes of demons. Though, granted, this is making them more powerful, but why would the monk do this? Why would they take this on, especially if, as I said, they are detached from the world? So it should be interesting to see how the monk storyline plays out compared to other characters in Diablo 3. So this is the end of this DiabloSpot video. I'm Halogen, and I thank you for watching.